You've probably seen by now that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom received a very awesome and early day one patch. I even made a video about it, and a lot of people were talking on YouTube about how this exceptional 1.1.0 patch has made a game-changing difference, improving the frame rate, cutting down on visual glitches, and most importantly, adding in AMD FSR technology. Now that is the Fidelity FX Super Resolution technology that helps crisp out the game image and make things look better graphics without overtaxing the GPU. Something very important to a Switch system that don't have a whole lot of GPU to begin with. This story has really gained a lot of ground and has become a very big deal, and Nintendo is being actively praised for adding in such a nice update before the game even comes out. And if you download the downloadable version, the eShop version, boom, you'll be set as soon as the game launches later this week. Then if you get the cartridge version, well, you'll have to connect to the internet and download that patch. And it's made a difference that people playing the game on Reddit and Twitter, reviewers, they're having a different experience with the game. And I can say I have a source myself, Nintentalk, who I talked to, who says, yeah, the game runs and looks better after this patch. But here's where this video gets a little bit tricky. This patch adds in a better technology. This patch improves the frame rate. These are things that definitely would have helped Breath of the Wild, right? We had some issues with the frame rate and the graphics. Now, people were kind of talking a bit about it in the previews, and boom, Nintendo shows up with the day one patch before the game even launches. They're not going to let Scarlet and Violet happen here, but here's where it gets interesting. Do you recall that I made a video talking about how Nintendo mysteriously changed the file size of Tears of the Kingdom about a month or so ago? At one point, the file size of this game was 18 gigabytes, and then magically, it dropped down to just under 16 gigabytes. Now, back then we talked about, hey, could this be because they were planning a different cartridge? That's why they charged $70. There was a lot of rumors and speculation on why this dropped. It might have been as simple as, hey, they figured out a better way to compress the file in the game and make it smaller. Nintendo's actually really great at that compared to a lot of companies. But it was odd that it happened so close to launch. Like, the game was definitely already gold. So what happened? Where did those 2.3 or 2.2 gigabytes go? And now, after seeing this patch and how much it improves Tears of the Kingdom, adding in AMD FSR technology, the thought is that maybe Nintendo had this in there, took it out, and now put it back in via a patch. So they had FSR technology in there. That's why it was 18 gigs. They removed it thinking they could get away with it, or maybe they needed to for some reason, and now they're sneaking it back in before the game launches so no fan is any the wiser. Kind of a really interesting idea, kind of a really interesting theory, and it's completely not true. So if you think that Nintendo magically decided to upgrade the graphics of this game at the 11th hour, or that they remove good graphics and then put them back in fear of fan feedback, that's just not the case. I've seen people talking about this, and it's like, here's the real deal. I want to set this straight. And like, look, I'm happy to criticize Nintendo. They've gone hog wild with their DMCA takedowns, their Nintendo Ninjas, their strikes. They make a lot of silly decisions. They haven't announced anything. We have no idea what's coming past Pikmin 4. I will call Nintendo out when they deserve to be called out. But I also will make sure that I stand up for Nintendo when they need to be stood up for. And Nintendo did not try to pull one over. I have a bunch of reasons why this is not the case. First off, the day one patch was approximately 317 megabytes. 317 megabytes. That's compared to the 2.2, 2.3 gigabytes that mysteriously disappeared in late March, early April from the game's file size on Nintendo's website and on the eShop. That's not even close. So if this patch was to indeed put back in what they tried to take out, well, they clearly took way more out. They clearly took a ton more out or compressed it much further down, or there's just no conspiracy and this was just an issue of, I don't know, they mislabeled, they figured something out, they decided to, I don't know why. I don't have a good answer for why that file size dropped. That is still a mystery. But I'm telling you that the 317 megabyte file size of the day one patch does not explain a 2 gigabyte drop. Also, there is no way that Nintendo decided that, hey, we're going to go with good graphics and then we're going to make it worse, and then, oh gosh, we're going to make it better. I don't even believe necessarily that this patch added in FSR. Like, I know FSR is in there now. I don't discount that, but I feel like Nintendo probably had talked about that and planned that, and I don't think that over the weekend, a week before the biggest game of the decade launches, they decided to up the graphics of the game. I think the graphics of this game were always set, and maybe there was bug fixes they could make, maybe there was optimization they could make, maybe there were things they could tweak to up the performance and the FPS, and I believe that they did that 100%. But I want to also point out some miscommunication and misunderstanding about AMD FSR, because the Switch is using AMD FSR 1.0. Now that is different from AMD's latest technology, which is FSR 2.0. And I want to read you this so that you understand. This comes from PC World, direct quote. FSR 1.0 performs well at higher 1440p and 4K resolutions, but lacks visual fidelity at lower resolutions such as 1080p. The Switch is a 1080p and often 720p console. So FSR 1.0 that is being applied to Switch games such as SwitchForce and Splatoon 3 and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom probably isn't even doing as much as we'd like to believe it's doing. I wonder if this is more of a marketing move and maybe just trying to add a little bit of sugar onto their cartridges, because 2.0 is where it greatly improves, offering better image quality across all resolutions. FSR 2.0 is what helps allow 1080p games to algorithmically be crisper and look better with this technology, this AI technology. FSR 1.0 doesn't even really enhance much at 1080p, so even if AMD FSR was added in this patch, even if Nintendo did just decide to, I don't know, duct tape it onto the game at the 11th hour, it's probably not really adding all that much. The FPS improvement is really the big deal here, and that is fantastic. That definitely should not be overshadowed or underrepresented. Look, getting better performance when you're trying to ultra hand around, when you're flipping the camera, that's really important. And it sounds like Nintendo did put in the work to ensure that this patch comes out before launch day and that it does improve performance in a very notable way. And that's a bravo. Like, I have nothing against that. I think that is fantastic, and I'm so glad, because slow ultra hand would make the already reported difficult controls way more difficult, and the overall experience of the game, we'd get through it. But this is 6.5 years later. We should enjoy a better performing version of this game. They've had 6.5 years to learn the Switch. This game was not beholden to the Wii U. We should get a better performing game, and we are. But to think that Nintendo removed good graphics and put them back in, or to even think that AMD FSR is this unthinkable addition and this magic solution to Nintendo graphics, and they are upgrading the game at the 11th hour and making it beautiful for you, and they decided to put in this extra technology, it's just not true. Not only did the file sizes not match up whatsoever, not only was it most likely decided well before this past weekend that they would add in FSR technology, but AMD FSR 1.0 doesn't even really do a whole lot for 1080p, let alone 720p, and so we are left with a Zelda game that looks plenty great and has an art style all its own, but all of the hyperbole going around and all of the big talk about them adding this big thing in and changing it and maybe taking out graphics and putting them, it's all kind of nonsense. And I hope that at least some of you out there appreciate that we're setting the record straight. I wake up and I see so much on YouTube that is all over the place, and I don't know, I guess it's not my job, but I really take pride in making sure that like these videos are accurate and we're talking about good stuff. Okay? So Zelda looks good, the frame rate is improved, and I don't really know that FSR 1 is all that much to squawk about. Maybe if we can get DLSS, true DLSS, on the next Switch, then maybe that'll be pretty sick. But right now, Zelda looks like Zelda looks, and thank goodness it runs well, and I'm so excited to play it. So that's all that really matters. We're playing Zelda in a couple days, and even though all of this story is really convoluted and really kind of crazy and really being misrepresented, what matters is that Tears of the Kingdom is almost here, and by all accounts, it seems freaking sweet. So I cannot wait to play it with you, bring you all sorts of tips, tricks, and awesome videos. Until that time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there, my people. Love you a lot. Appreciate you even more. SwitchForce out.